All right, hey everybody, welcome back to the eBay shop. My name's Corey.
I'm Teresa.
And today we're going to talk about a question I've seen posed in a lot of different businesses in a lot of different ways. And that is, what would you do if you had to start over? So I guess in our situation, the question would be, if we had to start all over and we had our knowledge, we could take that with us, but we had to get rid of everything else. We had no shelves, no totes, we had no inventory. Say we got $500 to our names and we got to start this and we want to get to a full-time income.
Yep.
That's what we're going to try and have a discussion about today.
We're going to try.
We're going to try and figure out what we would do and in what order to get back to a full-time income. Mm-hmm. So if that's interesting, stick around, and that's kind of what we're going to be going over. But first, as usual, we do have a few things that sold on eBay that we need to get out the door today. So we're going to look at what those were.
We did. We sold a Matco Tools Green Flames fitted hat.
Yep. It's another one of these kind of flex fit, elasticy fitted hat.
It looks brand new.
This one's actually got a Matco Tools tag. Yep. And it is in really good shape. What'd that sell for?
$14.99.
$14.99.
That came out of our storage unit.
We've actually sold a couple hats now, so
Yep.
yay, because we haven't had luck selling hats.
Nope. Next up, we sold a watch. It is a different kind of watch.
It's like a kid's smartwatch.
It is. It's called a Gizmo watch. It's black and gray and it has fancy green things. This one is the one that's not damaged.
It's got the charger. And
Yep. But yeah, it like connects to Verizon and they can use it to text their parents and stuff like that. I don't know how it exactly works, but it sold for $22.50.
There you go. I don't remember. I think we bought those at a little garage sale out by Harrisburg.
I paid $10
for two of them.
No, I paid $15 for two of them, and then I went back because the one I noticed was cracked on the screen, and he gave them to me for $10 for both of them.
Yep, I remember picking them up that day. Just not too far from the orchard there.
They don't last long. Like it wasn't on, but for like 24 hours.
Well, it lasts long in our inventory because we didn't list it. It's been here forever.
Yep,
But we just listed it, and it did sell pretty quick. So, all right. So first step, I would say, if we were going to start all over and all we had was our knowledge and $500, and the goal was to become full-time.
No, it's not going to happen overnight.
Yep, I think that's
like
the first step.
K-N-O-W, not no.
Yeah, well, no as well. No, it ain't. It ain't going to happen overnight. This as well as any other business, really, if you're going to get to a level where it's a full-time income for you, wherever that is, which is different for everybody, it's still going to take some time to build. Yep. It's not a light switch. You can't just turn it on and off. So even with the knowledge we already have, there's still a ramp-up time where it's going to take us a little bit to get there.
Yep, don't jump into it. Don't quit your job today thinking you're going to be making the same amount of money tomorrow.
Yeah, so I think understanding that is the very first step. The next step is either keep the job you have or get a job if you don't have one, because you don't want to burn through that $500 buying ramen noodles. That needs to go to your actual reselling business. So you need to have a way to actually support yourself while you grow this thing.
How do you keep from spending that $500 right away?
I think that's probably part of getting prepared, and that is get to the bank, take that $500 and open a bank account that's just for this.
Yep.
That's all it's going to be for. And then leave that $500 alone until you have a plan on how to spend it properly so that it benefits the business and grows the business. But other than that, it's prepare yourself, prepare your mindset, get your bank account open, and then understand it's a building process. And I think what we talk about in the rest of this video will give you a pretty good idea of what that process should look like, or what it could look like for us. And then it's just a matter of taking the steps. So first step, no, it ain't overnight. Get your no K-N-O-W, ends with a W.
You almost did it.
No both. And then, keep your job and start out that way. I think that's what I would do first. Set the bank account up and get your head right.
Man, we're really screwed if we only have our knowledge.
Yeah, we're in trouble. Well, we're starting at a handicap, but we'll get it. All right, let's look at a few more things that sold.
We sold some butt flap pajamas.
Oh, they are. The old Western style PJs with the flap in the rear.
So yes, they are actually vintage Coleman flap seat long johns, or they call them union suits.
Yep.
You can't miss somebody walking around out in the forest in that.
Well, hopefully they're not walking around the forest in that.
Well, if they're camping,
So what'd those sell for?
$25.
It's just in case you're wondering, these go under your clothes. They don't go.
Yeah, but
these are not your clothes.
No, but when you're out camping and you go to sleep, you just sleep in those.
I'm not gonna go walk around in the woods in long johns with a buff
What
flap.
happens if a bear comes over and jumps at your thing? You gotta run.
He's gonna get shot because I ain't gonna be wearing long johns.
You're
Holy
no fun.
cow. No, that's not on the agenda for fun. All right, what else we got?
We sold some, I think it's Star Wars. It is a 2016 Hasbro Disney Star, that goes on the bottom. Star Wars, the Black Series Titanium Series.
It's a Death Star, isn't it?
Death Star.
Yeah, that thing's pretty cool. But the stand,
actually spins.
it's really heavy. I thought it was all plastic. That's actually like die cast.
It is die cast.
It's heavy, and that
Careful
is
so the
not.
one piece doesn't break off.
That's really cheap.
Yep.
The stand is. So that's a die cast Death Star. And
It
feels
spins.
like it.
See the green thing
Oh,
spins.
I see it. See it.
I don't think they can
Okay.
see it, but they can see your face.
So, woo, that's pretty cool. What'd the Death Star go for?
$25.
$25.
And not only that, not on our video today, but we sold the other one, which is like I don't know, it's got wings like this.
It's an X-wing.
Sure,
It's not
it's
an
got wings
X-wing.
like this.
I'm not sure which wing it is.
Hold on,
It's
I'll
one of
tell
the
you what it
winged
is.
ones. It's a starfighter. It's not an X-wing. I know that.
It is an Imperial cargo ship.
It's a cargo. Okay, so it has wings.
So my shelf is getting bare up there because that's the only thing I have left that.
Yep.
So
All right. So we got our head right. We know it's going to take a little while to build. We still have our job. We've set up our bank account. What's the next thing you'd do?
get supplies to be able to ship out the stuff I'm selling.
Yep. I think I would gather what supplies I could.
Yep. And the main thing that people say, I mean, if you have a printer, that's fine. But the sooner you get a thermal printer, the easier it's going to be on you.
I think that's important enough that I would take part of that $500. Mm-hmm. I would probably pull out a couple hundred of that 500, which seems like a lot when you're not doing anything yet. Mm-hmm. But I think it's that important. You could buy thermal printers cheap, used, doesn't matter. You don't have to buy
$40-50 online.
Yeah, you don't have to buy a Rollo. You can go get one for $40-50 on Amazon, or get on Marketplace or eBay and buy a used decent one, but get a thermal printer right away. And probably the stuff I would buy is a thermal printer, some tape, and some bubble wrap. And I would buy those. I would probably find my thermal printer wherever you could find it.
Where would you buy your bubble wrap and your tape
And then
from?
the tape and the bubble wrap, I would probably get from American Bubble Boy. And I would, whatever I had left over from purchasing the thermal printer, I would put it all into tape and bubble wrap. I would just get it coming in. I would have it on the shelf and have it ready, because not having your shipping supplies and not being ready to actually ship things when you sell is going to be your biggest hurdle in the beginning.
Yep, and then you should get boxes. There's two ways you can get boxes. You can go to the post office. You can use the priority boxes. Priority's not as effective, like not as cheap as.
You want to be You want to be shipping the cheapest way you can, which is usually, it's not always Ground Advantage. Sometimes it is priority, but boxes are important. I think I would start out, and you could ship if you ship in a brown box or a reused box,
You can still ship priority.
you could still ship priority. So I think I would start out by getting free boxes like we did from
Yep, we went to Dollar General.
Yep.
I think that's what it's called.
I think it's Dollar General.
We went to there and they used to give us all their boxes. We went from little boxes to big boxes. I mean, they don't get a whole lot that's in gigantic
medium
boxes.
size, yeah.
But yeah, go there and get them free. Then you just have to worry about organizing them in a spot when you get them.
Knowing that I'm going to make this a full-time income, I think if I was going to start gathering supplies like that, I'd go to $2-3 stores, and I would try to fill a pickup load full of various size boxes.
Yep.
I'd bring them home and I'd find room for them somewhere, kind of organize them by size and shape a little bit, and I would just have them ready, because boxes is going to be a big thing for you in the beginning. And when you're just starting out, there's no reason to be buying, because you don't know what size stuff you're going to be shipping yet.
Yep.
So I would start with the free boxes, whether they be the postal boxes or the dollar store boxes or a mix of both. I would get some boxes on hand.
Mm-hmm. And then if you get a thermal printer.
Not if. Get the thermal printer.
Once you have your thermal printer, we get our labels from UPS. We have a couple different UPS accounts. One is from our previous business that we have. The other one is just a personal one that we have, so that they notify us when we have packages coming.
Yeah.
But you can get labels on there. It's not a whole lot.
You could get free UPS thermal labels, the 4x6 labels for the printer.
Yep. And we get them on a roll. And then for us, it's probably too much information, but for us, they come in a 900 count
Should we show
roll.
them? You guys want to take a field trip?
I'm going to open one of these.
Now, they don't take care when they ship them. Sometimes they just throw the whole roll in a poly.
It'll be all dirty now.
So this is what we get when we order our free labels. And it's a big roll. But our roll is up there. It's like a toilet paper roll, and they won't fit.
Nope. So we take the original. So when one is empty, when this is empty,
Yep.
or whatever, find something to roll it on. Yes, I'm probably not very smart for doing it, but I take this one and I hook it onto the first roll, and I just roll it until half of this label is on this roll, and then we have two that'll fit on our thing the way it should.
This is an efficiency we could probably fix. The reason we do it is because of the way that's mounted. It can't hold that whole roll without rubbing on the wall
And
and not
heavy.
working. So we might actually just put a few 2x4s behind that and space that out so we have room.
It's heavy though. Then I'll have to Velcro down my thermal printer.
All right, so labels, thermal printer, boxes, bubble tape. You need a box cutter.
A razor of some type.
Find one somewhere. I mean, you can pick these up.
You can pick them up at the
Utility
dollar
knife. Yeah.
while you're getting your boxes.
If you're at Ace or Lowe's or Home Depot, they usually have those big baskets of just cheap tools that are like $1 a piece.
Yep.
Grab one out of there and some extra razors. You will need a razor blade of some kind,
Yep.
but I would assume you could find one of those probably just laying around your house. So
Yep.
gather your supplies so that when you do make your first sale, you're not scrambling to try and figure out how to send it out. You have all your shipping supplies and you're hooked up to your printer and you're ready to go. That's probably the very next step I would take.
Yep. I agree.
There you go.
Get your shit together.
Get your shit together. All right, let's look at a few more things that sold.
We sold an LPS. This is weird because I always thought LPS was just the little people, but they actually have girls. So this is Blythe.
LPS is not little people. They're little pets.
Little pets, not little people. Little pets. This is Blythe Love's Littlest Pet Shop.
step
Fabulous vintage doll. And she has the little spider with her.
Yep. Have you guys
I paid $1 for that.
seen Lucifer, the TV series?
Oh, does she look like the blonde
Doesn't that
chick?
look like the therapist girl that's on Lucifer? That's who that looks like. All right, so what did the little person pet sell for?
From $1 into $25.
25. There you go. Littlest Pet Shop still keeps winning for us.
And she sent us a message saying that she would take very good care of her. The person that bought it did.
Well, that's
very nice.
that is very nice. Thank you very much.
Next, we did sell some little people. We sold a lot of little people figurines. There are 7 of them in there.
Yep.
One of them is a Disney Cinderella, and the rest of them are just average people.
Oh, Cinderella's special now, is she?
Well, maybe.
And then the rest of it, just the muggles, the average folks.
Yep.
I don't know.
And there's 2 in there that are identical, but I
Alright.
still sold it.
So what do the little people sell for?
$12. I think I'll continue picking them up if I can get them for fairly cheap, because if you lot them together,
Yeah.
they sell really well.
They don't seem to sell individually or in
No.
small lots, but the bigger you can make the lot, it seems like the quicker they sell. So they are, they're not going to take much to ship that either, and you can't break them.
Now you got to test the waters. Like you already know you're going to start.
Test the waters. Put your toes in.
Yep. So a couple different things. The first thing I would do, as you're doing your setup and stuff, you do need to create an account on eBay.
Well,
Or wherever
when,
you're going to sell.
when we say test the waters, we're saying if you've never done this before, like we've done it, so we know if we were going to say ramp this back up, we could go in and kind of skip this step and just go full speed ahead.
Yep.
But if you haven't done this and you're not sure that this is for you, if you're trying this to see if this is something you want to do, if you're trying this to see if it's something you want to do long term, I would highly recommend going in to this step kind of slow and just test the waters first and see how things go.
Yeah, because you don't want to go buy a bunch of stuff and be overwhelmed and not sell any of it.
The last thing you want is 1,000 pieces of inventory and then hate it.
Yep.
Yeah, you don't want to end up there. So,
Yep.
but
So
even so, you have a job, remember, because the first step is to have the job, keep the job. So you can't ship every single morning probably.
Nope.
Or maybe you can.
you could
But I
package
wouldn't-
up at night and drop it off in the morning.
I don't even know if I'd recommend that kind of pressure for yourself in the beginning. I think I would set my shipping to 3-day shipping. At least at the beginning.
Yep, that way you have time to get out and package it up, get ready to ship it, and make sure you have a box to ship it in case you have to stop somewhere and pick up a box because you don't have one that fits it or whatever.
Yep. And that way you give yourself room for the mistakes. You give
Who makes
yourself
mistakes?
room. Well, we do. Like we should probably set it to 8-day shipping. So give yourself enough breathing room not to put yourself in trouble because you do have the other job and you can't be ditching work to ship little people because then you'll get fired and you won't be able to buy ramen noodles. That's bad.
SpaghettiOs,
Ravioli, whatever you're into. But then I would take my nights and weekends and I would start
sourcing.
I would source very carefully and very intentionally
Yep.
for high sell-through rate items. I don't have to make 10x profit on everything. They don't have to be the most profitable. They just have to be very intentional. I want to sell these quickly.
Yep. And make sure that, you don't, how do I want to say it? Like, you don't have to stick to one category. You can.
No, you could experiment, play
But
around.
experiment. See what sells best for you and just keep experimenting.
I think that's what this stage is for, is just to see. Well, you're trying to answer a question. By the end of this, you want to keep doing this. It's kind of the benchmark we set is whatever you spent in stage 2, buying your printer and your tape and your bubble. Do this stage in stage 3 until you get your bank account back to the $500.
Yep.
That's kind of the benchmark we set for ourselves. By then, we should be able to answer one very important question.
Do you want to continue being a reseller?
Yep. Is this for you? Is this something that if you had to do at 10x the scale you're doing it now, or 20x or 100x, is this something you want to do for money
Yep.
as a living? Or does it suck and you don't want to do it?
Is this something you want to do for a living?
Not really. Kind of want to make pizza.
You kind of want to grow bonsai plants?
No,
You're not going to live that down.
no, I do enjoy this. So I think the answer for me is absolutely yes. I would scale it. I want to do it for a living, which is fortunate because we're doing it for a living.
Well, and on a plus side, so it's talking about intentional buys. We went to a garage sale last weekend. Yep, I'm going to slip this in here.
We did.
We went to a garage sale. It wasn't a garage sale. It was at our local VFW American Legion.
Well, it was a garage sale. They rented the VFW
Yes.
for it.
And so they had a whole lot of stuff in there. There was a whole lot of crap in there too. But the
lady that was running it said that they were
Missionaries.
selling everything because they were going on a missionary and they couldn't take a lot of stuff with them.
to Brazil.
So they were selling everything and they had to go. They couldn't keep it. So everything was super cheap.
So the first table we went to, I saw this thing and I'm like, I don't know crap about camera equipment.
It was like the flash setup for a camera.
Yeah, it was a flash setup. And all the pieces that were in this box, except for one, the one that you went back and picked up, the other little one, all the stuff that was in there, it's like $300 worth of stuff.
It's like studio setup flash for photography studios. It was a fancy setup. We actually ended up getting the light stands with like 5 different bulbs. You could turn them all off and control them individually. And like we got a bunch of photo equipment, but they had that whole box for what?
$10.
$10?
$10.
Yeah, it was cheap.
So we paid $10.10 for all of the camera equipment.
And we paid $2 a piece for the light stands, which
What's that, $2?
it was $2 a piece.
Okay.
So they were super cheap too, and they're nice light stands.
And
We're
then
using
we
them at
got
the office.
Then we got suckered into the books.
We didn't get suckered into the books. I saw the books and I thought, at this price and the kind of books that they are, what I did is I opened a couple books I was familiar with, and it said first edition on the cover, and they looked like first edition to me. Mm-hmm. And at 10 cents, I was like, well, I should take a chance. So we did, and I loaded up on some other ones that looked interesting. We still got some of them sitting around here, but I think what we found out, there was a lot of 4
systematic Bible books.
Yeah, they're religious books. Yep. And then there was a lot of 2 different type of religious books, one on the Old Testament, one on the New Testament.
Yep.
It's like a Bible guide type book. And those, just between those 6 books, I think we have
$225.
Yeah, $225. We paid 10 cents a book.
So we paid 60 cents. And while we were sitting here recording, we sold the one of 2, the New Testament and the Old Testament.
Yeah. Plus we did find a stack of first American edition Harry Potters, which I thought were probably going to be decent at 10 cents. I'd take the chance. Nope. They weren't great, but I think there was one that was good. No?
I was looking it up by barcode only, and that was very deceiving because the barcode only came up saying that one of them was worth like $100, and it's not. They're worth anywhere from 10 to $15.
But we'll lot those up. We'll probably still get $40 out of them. Lot it up. Maybe $25, $30, but we'll be able to move them. And then we got a couple others we haven't looked up yet that are from the 70s that also said first edition.
Yep, and a whole series of Doctor Who.
A whole series of Doctor Who DVDs.
Season 1 through 8, plus the special editions, and 2 additional movies that I listed yesterday for $60.
So this is all way off topic.
Sorry.
But we did end up going in there and spent $43.
$42.50.
And I think we came out probably just over $1,000 worth of stuff.
Yep.
So we did really good at that, but we were for the most part, we were taking some very calculated risks. We knew at 10 cents a book, there's no way we could get hurt.
Nope.
And we could drop them off at the secondhand store in town if they weren't good. But I did look a couple of them up while we were there, and it looked like we were going to do all right. So
yep.
I think we'll be good there.
We were very intentional on some of the stuff we bought.
I think we already made 2/3 of our money back just with that one book that sold. Or half.
Half after we take out shipping.
Yeah. So we're halfway back to whole. All right, let's look at a few more things that sold already.
I got to find where I'm at. We sold from our Pick-a-Picker. If you've watched previous videos, we got these from Alicia Inked Picker. Oops. They are truck marker lights. These are red to blue, blue to red.
Red to blue.
Red to blue.
Red to blue auxiliary lights. They're LED.
2 of them.
Yep. And what did the 2 sell for?
$17.24. So that's
Not
like
bad.
$8.70 piece.
Always trying to math.
I know. And some of these items that have sold are because we decided to run, well, I didn't because I don't deal with this, but Corey decided to run a sale.
I ran 2 sales this week.
Yep, so one on stuff that's a year older and one that's 6 months or older. And so a lot of this stuff sold because of that, so.
Yep. So that guy right there definitely hit one of our sales.
It did, but it still sold for decent money. It was a Lamax Country Carriage Ride with the original box. Looks brand new.
Yep. Horse and carriage and a couple people in it. For how much?
$18.74.
Yep. And it was at least 30% off because I think we're running I think we're running a 25% off and a 35% off sale right now.
That one's 25% off. Okay. What's the last piece of our advice if you had to start all over again? Well, the last category of advice.
Well, you've already kind of got in your mind that you're going to grow this as a business.
Yep.
You've already gathered all your supplies. And you've already done enough selling to answer the question, do I want to keep doing it?
Yep.
So I think if the answer is yes, you want to keep doing it, you want to get it to a full-time, then your next step is actually to move forward and scale what you're doing now.
Do you want to start with the spreadsheet purse?
You don't have to buy a purse.
No.
Well, if it's a good return, buy the purse.
So you start with a spreadsheet. Oh, no, let's do that piece last. I changed my mind because that's the other piece.
Right.
So
if you're going to move forward, there's a few pieces that we haven't covered that you will want to address.
Yep.
And
one is, what are you going to do with all the stuff you buy?
Inventory.
That hasn't sold yet.
Yeah, inventory is something I think a lot of people, us included, we just started piling stuff in here. And actually, we weren't even here at the time. We were in a much smaller room.
Yep.
But we just started piling stuff in, and we figured, well, I just bought it. I'll know where to find it. That's not always the case. So building an inventory system of some kind, or starting the beginning of that, I think is important at this stage. If you're going to do this, then do it right and start putting a little bit of that money into buying totes or shelves or boxes or however you want to do your inventory, but have a system.
I will. Can I give them a suggestion?
Suggest a way.
Suggest a way. I'm not a fan of banker boxes just because you can't see what's in it. You can't see how full it is without opening it and pulling it out because you don't want to, there are some people who store stuff in them without the lids, but we live out in the country, so to keep the dust and stuff off of everything, we have toted totes with lids.
Smells. We went through that. Smells are something
Yep.
that are like the reason we use lids on our totes
Yep.
is, and the reason we put clothes in bags when they're in with other clothes is because smells are an issue if you're
Yep.
doing this long enough.
Yep. So we do clear totes.
Well, we started out with just totes,
Yeah, we did just random totes.
and it was mostly for the smell and sealing everything in.
Yep.
We did switch to clear totes though.
We did, because I like seeing, like, if we haven't still fully inventoried it. We're about halfway through all of our inventory to make sure that we have everything. But to go through and find something that it has not been inventoried yet, that was from when we first started, is easier when you can see in the tote and not have to dig through the whole thing.
Yeah, clear totes, we found out, for us anyway, we found out that the clear totes are much easier to deal with. Because when we're walking up and down the aisles and we're looking for something in particular, we do use the SKU numbers in the custom SKU, so we know usually what tote it's in. But sometimes things get mixed around, and it is nice to be able to see in the totes without pulling every box down and looking in it. So
Correct.
clear totes have been good for us. I would recommend taking some money at this point and formulate some kind of an inventory system. That might require a little bit of shelving.
Yep.
Might require a little bit of totes or boxes or whatever you need to buy, but I would suggest at this point invest in that.
I know where you can get shelving from.
What?
You go on Marketplace. Instead of paying full price,
Marketplace
you can go
is
on
a good place
Marketplace.
for shelving.
Yep.
Garage sales is where we got our first set of shelving.
Yeah, that was in Mitchell.
We got quite a bit of shelving at 2 or 3 different garage sales in the very
did.
beginning.
We
So
did.
start looking for shelving. If you're going to stick it out and you're going to stay in it, you're going to want some kind of a system.
Then you sell, sell, sell.
Sell, sell, sell. Scale up. Start spending more time sourcing.
Yep.
Stay intentional. Stay focused on sell-through rates. Don't just look it up and get excited and buy it. Pay attention to the sell-through rate and if it sells and how fast it's going to sell. That's hard sometimes, especially when you're buying in bulk. But try to be very intentional about your buying. And then, for me, at least, if I was going to do this as a full-time business, I would start like a Google Sheet or an Excel sheet or something. I would put today's bank balance in it, what my current bank balance is from that bank account you started just for this business. And at the last day of every month, I would put the ending balance in, figure out what your total profit is. If you made money, which hopefully you do every month, whatever your profit is for that month, I would start splitting that up into sections. And those sections are easy to figure out just by percentage.
20% goes
Straight
to your
to tax.
taxes. So you can do one of two things. You can either keep it in the spreadsheet as, in a separate thing saying this is what taxes is, or you can open a secondary checking account, savings account, whatever, and put that money into there.
Yep. If you've never ran a business before, you might not know what that percent should be. For us, we've done this enough. We know if we roughly pull out 20%, it'll help cover our self-employment tax, our FICA tax, and our Social Security and all that stuff. This will kind of take care of that for us. And we just pull that off 20% of whatever our profit is, and we set it aside. Now, we don't pay state tax here.
Nope, we don't have state tax in the state of South Dakota. There are
There's a
there
few.
are a few states in the United States that do not collect
Yep.
state tax.
We are one of those lucky enough we don't have to pay the state tax. So 20% is the portion we dedicate to that. And at the end of the year, if we collected too much, we pull it back over or just keep that as a bonus and
Yep.
whatever you want to do, because you're gonna pay taxes on it if it's extra anyway. So
What's the biggest portion that you should keep out?
the biggest portion, what I would do is I would set 50%. Whatever that profit number is, not the total number in the account, but the profit number, 50% of that should go directly to you. That's your profit for that month. That's what you get to take home for a paycheck.
So, for example, if you started with $500 in the account.
Yep.
At the end of the month, you had $700. We're gonna math.
That's 200 profit.
Yep, that's $200 in profit. So you're gonna take 50% of that, which is $100, and that is yours.
That's your paycheck.
20%.
It's
Which is-
$20. No, it's 40. It's 40.
Shut up, Mr.
40.
Mather. That's $40.
That goes to your tax
That
account.
$40 is, it's going to your tax account. The last money to get to your 100% of your profit is 30%, and that will go back into your business
Yep.
to be able to buy more.
So now you should, instead of having your 500, which you originally had, you should now have 560. Right?
Yes.
So 560 will be your new number for next month to figure your profit off of.
Yep.
But 560 is also the amount you have in that account to spend on growing your business, buying inventory,
Buying supplies.
new shelves and supplies. Like that's your operating capital. And then you just keep doing that over and over and over. The object of the game at that point is just to scale and get more inventory and sell more items. And at the end of the day, you're trying to get to a point where you could say, okay, for the last 6 months, my paycheck, the 50% I'm drawing out, that's your measuring stick. That's your ruler to tell if you can go full time or not.
Yep. And it has to be, I mean, I don't know, how do I say it? It should be consistent.
Well, it shouldn't. If you say, okay, I've been doing this for 6 months and it's enough for me to live off of every month, and I'm comfortable that it's enough for me to live off every month, then you're ready to make a decision. Maybe you get to a point where you're comfortable knowing that it's steady enough that you could switch to a part-time job and scale up your buying efforts.
Yep.
And then after that, maybe it's enough to where you can get out of your work's insurance and buy your own insurance, because that's a big hurdle to getting full time. But at least now you have, rather than saying I want to go full time and look at your total and say, well, I did 15,000 in sales in the last 90 days.
Okay, that's great, but what did you actually take home out of it?
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything. You still need that ruler to gauge by, and that 50% paycheck that you're taking that goes to your normal account every month, that's what you need to measure by. Or some other system. I mean, feel free to tweak that and do whatever you want with it. That's probably the most simplistic version. That's probably how I would approach it.
Yep. So, how would you approach it? If you had to start all over again?
And all you had was your knowledge.
Which we don't have
much
much of.
And $500. Yeah. Well, when you get into this, you have none, really.
Nope. So,
well, that's not true. Everybody thinks they have none, but you do.
You have some
kind of a
general.
hobby in your life that you know what things cost in. Like,
do you?
Everybody does at some point, has some kind of hobby. Like I know what gun parts cost. I know what cold weather gear and traps cost. I know what things like that. Everybody has some kind of hobby in their life that they can kind of roughly tell you what has value and what doesn't.
Yep.
Use that experience to buy and sell with.
Yep.
So everybody has some kind of expertise. Whether they think they're experts or not, they have enough knowledge to get into reselling just off of daily living.
Yep.
So, all right. So that's how we would do it. And you let us know down below, one, if you think we're full of
Full
it.
of crap.
And two, how you would do this differently, because I think there's a million ways to do it. This is just kind of what we came up with. So
Should we talk about the last few things?
we do have a few more things that sold, though, because we are doing this full time. So we need to keep selling stuff.
We sold a lot of movies. We sold our War 01 Blu-ray bundle.
Yep. All war movies. Rather than try and sell these movies that weren't worth much as individual ones or sell them on Marketplace, we lotted them up by genre. So these are all different war movies.
I have a bunch more that night.
And they're all Blu-ray.
Yep.
Those sold for what?
They were on sale, so they sold for $20.79.
Yep.
Free shipping.
And if we lotted these up and sold them on Marketplace as a bundle, they probably would have went for 50 cents or less.
Yep.
A movie.
So that went for roughly $2.50 a piece. Another item from our sale.
Oh, am I glad to see these guys going.
I have two of them. This is Owlette, so it's the girl from PJ Masks. It's her Owlette transformation playset. It includes both her day and her night figure.
Yeah. So we bought a bunch of PJ Masks stuff a while back,
I would not buy any more.
and we've held on to it forever. Like that stuff just would not move.
Between those and those treasure chests.
Yes.
We sold one treasure chest.
So they did sell once they went on the sale.
Yep.
And that sold for how much?
A whopping $11.69. That's how we know that they're on sale, because I don't sell stuff for those dollar amounts.
Still, at that price, it would have been profitable for us. But more importantly, it was borderline getting to the point where it was going to go out of here to a donation box.
Maybe.
So we'll take the profit.
Yep.
All right. Is that it?
Was that it?
I think that's it. I think we're full time now.
We quit. We started over. Now we're full time again.
Oh, and if I was going to do this again and start over with just the $500 and go full time and try and get to that end goal, I would exclude YouTube. I would not
Oh.
give half my time up. Actually, probably 2/3 of our time.
Lately, you haven't had to do a whole lot, though.
I think
You've
we're
been
getting
doing
better
at editing.
Yeah, I think we're getting faster at the edit. So
I don't deal with any of that, so I don't deal with that.
But I
So while
guess,
he edits, I list.
I guess the point of that one is try not to split your time between other things. If you're going to do it, go all in. Don't go half in. Because I think with the
Halvesies?
YouTube, we're kind of halvesies
With what?
with YouTube.
That's
Did I say it wrong?
You said YouTube.
YouTube. It's kind of a YouTube.
It's a tomb.
It's where time goes to die.
Maybe.
All right. So I think that's it for today. So we will catch you guys next time.
Hasta la vista, baby.